2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. Hey, math is so easy to me. It's so easy. Count it up like.
Hey everybody, welcome to my classroom, also known as my kitchen. We have a nice poster here on my refrigerator. I thought I would use a wooden spoon since I don't have my normal pointer that I have in the classroom. And let's go ahead and get started on today's lesson. Today we are focusing on finding the LCM, or the least common multiple of two numbers. Now you might be like, Miss Mainini, we did this. And you're right, we did. Way back in the day, in like September, when we did Module 3, we did learn how to find the LCM of two numbers. But tomorrow, we are going to be talking about adding and subtracting fractions. And in order to do that, you need to know how to find the LCM of two numbers. So we're going to review LCM today so that you are totally prepared for tomorrow. Let's take a look at some important definitions. First is multiple. Now, a multiple is the product of a number and any non-zero whole number. So for example, if we were to look at multiples of 3, they would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. The multiples of 3 would go on forever. There's an infinite number of possible multiples of 3. We find these multiples with 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, and so on. Now, the least common multiple, or the LCM, is simply the smallest multiple that numbers have in common. And that's what we are focusing on today. Let's take a look at an example. We'll do it together. You do it on paper while I do it on my poster. Our instructions ask us to find the LCM of 4 and 10. I personally like to always start with the smallest number. And in this case, our smallest number is 4. And we're going to list out multiples of 4. I always like to start by listing the first 5 multiples of a number, okay? Just as a starting point. So we have 4, because 4 times 1 is 4. The next multiple would be 8, because 4 times 2 is 8. The next multiple is 12, because 4 times 3 is 12. We would have 16, because 4 times 4 is 16. We would have 20, because 4 times 5 is 20. Those are my first 5 multiples, so we'll pause there. Let's move on to 10. Now, every time I list a multiple of 10, I'm going to pause to see if it's a multiple that it has in common with 4. So the first multiple of 10 is 10, because 10 times 1 is 10. Let's pause. 10 is not a multiple of 4, so we need to keep going. The next multiple of 10 is 20, because 10 times 2 is 20, and we have a winner. 20 is a multiple of both 10 and 4. Therefore, the LCM of 4 and 10 is 20. Now, some of you might remember that earlier in the year, we learned how to find the LCM using prime factorization. You are welcome to use that method instead if you prefer it and if you remember how to do it. I'm going to pause now and turn it over to Miss Rogers, who's going to do one more example problem with you.
Hey guys, hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to talk about LCM, or the least common multiple, and we're going to find the least common multiple of 5 and 15. So how we're going to do this is we're going to list the multiples of both numbers until you find one in common. So let's start with 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then I'm going to put 3 dots because I could go on forever counting by 5 and listing the multiples. Now let's go to 15. 15, wait. There's already one in common, so there's no need to keep going because we can see that the least common multiple is 15.
All right, we have one more example problem to do together. Make sure you're doing it with me. In this case, we are finding the LCM of 5 and 9. I always like to start with the smaller number. In this case, it is 5. So we'll start off by listing multiples of 5. And I always like to start by listing the first 5 multiples. So our first multiple is 5 because 5 times 1 is 5. Our next multiple is 10 because 5 times 2 is 10. Then we have 15 because 5 times 3 is 15. We have 20, 5 times 4 is 20. And finally we have 25, 5 times 5 is 25. Those are the first 5 multiples of 5. And you might recognize that what we are doing here is the equivalent of skip counting, or counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, we could keep going on. But we'll pause here and turn to 9 to see if we can find a multiple that they have in common. So the first multiple of 9 is 9, because 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 is not a multiple of 5, so we need to keep going. Our next multiple is 18, because 9 times 2 is 18. 18 is not a multiple of 5. Okay, I'm going to go on. Our next multiple is 27, because 9 times 3 is 27. 27, not a multiple of 5. Got to keep going. 9 times 4 is 36, so that's my next multiple. 36 is not a multiple of 5. Okay, my next multiple is 45. And 45 is not, well, it might be a multiple of 5, and I noticed that it ends in 5. So I've listed 5 multiples of 9. Let's turn back to 5 and keep listing some multiples to see if we can find one in common with what we've listed for 9. So after 25, we would have 30. 5 times 6 is 30. 30, not a multiple of 9. I have to keep going. Okay, next I would have 35. 35, also not a multiple of 5. Have to keep going. After 35, I would have 40. 40, not a multiple of 9. Next I have 45. And there we go. We have finally found our common multiple. It is 45. So 45 represents the LCM of 5 and 9. That would be our final answer. You have a worksheet to practice that's posted in your assignment for today. You also have a quiz. If you have questions, reach out to your teachers. Get to work.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love doing math. I love doing math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love